You know how in Star Wars they made a whole planet with two suns seem so impossible and fantastical? Well, turns out that wasn't just Hollywood imagination. For the longest time, scientists were pretty convinced that binary star systems couldn't actually support planets. The math seemed to check out. Two stars creating conflicting gravitational forces would just rip any planet to shreds and send it flying into space or crashing into one of the stars. But nature has a funny way of ignoring the rulebook that humans write. Astronomers recently discovered something that shouldn't exist according to everything we thought we knew. A planet is actually orbiting two stars, and it's doing it remarkably close to both of them. This is the closest directly imaged planet in a binary system we've ever found, which means scientists actually saw the light bouncing off this world instead of just detecting its shadow. The system is sitting about 446 light-years away from us, which means the photons hitting our telescopes today started their journey before humans even built modern civilization. This thing is a beast too. We're talking about a planet roughly 6 times heavier than Jupiter. But here's where it gets genuinely mind-bending. This colossal world is only about 13 million years old. I know that sounds ancient, but remember that Earth has been around for 4.6 billion years. In cosmic terms, this planet is basically a newborn, still figuring out how to walk. Its two parent stars are locked in an incredibly tight dance, completing a full orbit around each other in just 18 Earth days. Imagine two massive celestial bodies whipping around each other that fast, constantly shifting their gravitational pull and warping space-time like a washing machine. Yet somehow, this planet remains perfectly locked in its orbit, taking 300 years just to complete one lap around the pair. What's absolutely fascinating is that nobody actually knows how this thing formed in the first place. When two stars orbit that closely, their combined gravity should be shredding apart all the dust and gas that would normally clump together to form planets. Scientists have only discovered a few dozen binary planets so far, nowhere near enough to figure out the mechanism. This discovery actually raises more questions than it answers, which is exactly why astronomers are excited about it. But the universe isn't done throwing curveballs at us. There's another world out there that's so warped by gravitational forces that it doesn't even look like a planet anymore. Imagine an object stretched into the shape of a lemon by the intense tidal forces of something nearby. That nearby something isn't even a normal star, it's a pulsar, which is basically what's left after a massive star dies. When these giant stars reach the end of their lives, they collapse into something impossibly dense, spinning insanely fast and blasting radiation across space like some kind of cosmic lighthouse. Being anywhere near that would instantly vaporize anything we'd recognize as solid matter. Yet this lemon-shaped planet somehow manages to exist in this nightmare scenario. Gravity is literally pulling harder on the side facing the pulsar than on the far side, stretching the whole thing like cosmic taffy. Before we dive into some of the strangest planets ever discovered, make sure you're subscribed because what you're about to see will blow your mind. Welcome to Beyond the Stars. When researchers analyzed what this planet's atmosphere is made of, they found something truly disturbing. Instead of water or oxygen like we might expect, they detected helium and pure carbon. No clouds, no oceans, absolutely no chance of life as we understand it. According to everything planetary scientists know about how worlds form, this thing shouldn't exist at all. It might not even be a planet in the traditional sense. Scientists think it could be the exposed core of a star that got ripped apart, leaving behind something that exists in the strange space between planet and stellar corpse. That's the kind of discovery that makes you realize we're only scratching the surface of what's out there. Speaking of surprising discoveries, let me tell you about a system orbiting two red dwarf stars. These two stars are separated by about the same distance that Jupiter sits from our Sun. Within this system, astronomers found two Earth-sized planets packed incredibly close to the stars, with possibly a third one squeezed in even tighter. One of these worlds completes a full orbit, an entire year, in just over 2 days. The second one takes about 3.5 days. The candidate for the third planet moves even faster than that. To give you perspective, these planets are less than 2 million miles from their star. Our moon orbits about 250,000 miles from Earth. These worlds are practically kissing their stars. When astronomers combined data from both space-based and ground-based telescopes, they realized they were looking at something that shouldn't be possible. These planets actually transit both stars, meaning they pass in front of them. Most planets in binary systems orbit just one star, and according to physics, having planets that orbit both should be gravitationally unstable. The system should have torn itself apart ages ago. Yet here it is, completely stable, and breaking all the rules we thought were fundamental. Now let me show you what happens when we get close enough to actually map a world outside our solar system in 3 dimensions. Astronomers managed to do exactly that using the James Webb Space Telescope, and the planet they mapped is absolutely nightmarish. We're talking about a world so scorching hot that it literally tears water molecules apart. When the planet slid behind its parent star, the telescope watched how the star's light changed at different wavelengths. Certain colors get absorbed by water vapor, while others pass through. By analyzing all that data together, scientists figured out the temperature at different heights and locations across the planet's atmosphere. Some parts of this world's atmosphere heat up to nearly 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than molten lava. This superheated world sits around 400 light-years away and weighs roughly 10 times more than Jupiter. It races around its star in just 23 hours. One complete year on this planet is basically a single day here on Earth. Being that close to its star creates temperatures so extreme that winds can't even redistribute the heat effectively. The result is an atmosphere packed with carbon monoxide and basically devoid of water. For decades, astronomers assumed water would be abundant in the atmospheres of giant planets everywhere. This world proves they were wrong. Water apparently isn't guaranteed, it's optional. This reality becomes even more obvious when we look at a whole category of planets called sub-Neptunes, which are basically planets larger than Earth but smaller than Neptune. A bunch of scientists spent years hoping these worlds were water worlds, thinking they'd find deep oceans covered with thick atmospheres. One famous example, K218b, initially showed methane and carbon dioxide in its atmosphere, but almost no ammonia. When researchers ran the numbers, they realized that lava also dissolves ammonia, so that missing ammonia wasn't proof of water at all. It could just mean the entire planet is covered in an ocean of molten magma. Scientists decided to model how these sub-Neptunes actually heat up and cool down over time. They asked a straightforward question: do these planets ever cool down enough to stop being lava worlds? The answer they got back was pretty much never. When they ran simulations on thousands of known sub-Neptunes, they found that almost all of them are probably lava worlds, not water worlds. These planets don't give off water vapor, they give off rock vapor. Their atmospheres form from boiling magma, not evaporating oceans. That fundamentally changes how we think about habitability. Worlds we once thought might be habitable turn into absolute hellscapes the moment you actually run the numbers. Then there's this particular world that's only about 64 light-years away, close enough to make astronomers genuinely uncomfortable. It's the nearest hot Jupiter we've found. From a distance, it looks gorgeous, a smooth, deep blue marble floating peacefully in the void. That blue color hides something absolutely brutal, though. On this planet, it rains glass, and it rains sideways. Winds tear across the atmosphere at around 5,400 miles per hour, fast enough to instantly shred anything solid. The blue color comes from microscopic silicate particles, the same stuff that makes glass. The planet's surface temperature reaches about 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt rock. That extreme heat vaporizes the silicates into microscopic shards that whip around the planet like caloos. A planetary-scale sandblaster. If you somehow ended up there, you wouldn't even have time to feel the pain. You'd be gone before you ever realized what was happening. And if you think that's dark, there's actually a planet darker than that. We found a world that reflects less than 1% of the light that hits it. It's darker than coal. It's darker than black paint. Light just gets swallowed by it. That's what the universe does when it really wants to hide something. The craziest part is that not all planets even stay in their solar systems. Astronomers have discovered rogue planets, worlds that got ejected from their homes and now drift through space in complete darkness, frozen and alone, never experiencing another sunrise. When you zoom out and look at everything we're discovering, the pattern becomes crystal clear. Our universe wasn't designed for life. Life exists despite the universe, not because of it. Earth isn't normal. It's incredibly lucky. We're still in the early stages of this discovery era. Every single year, new telescopes get sharper and better. Every year, the picture of the cosmos gets stranger and more wild. The more clearly we see what's actually out there, the less it matches our imagination. And honestly, that's the most unsettling truth. The universe doesn't fit our stories. Our stories barely scratch the surface of what's real. If you're fascinated by the cosmos and want to learn more about these wild discoveries, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any videos about space and the universe. Hit that notification bell too, so you get alerted whenever we upload something new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.